Hello, Sheriff. Sorry to bother you, but there's a pretty weird old British doctor here to see you.
Is he wearing a trench coat?
That's him.
Oh, well, you better send him in. It's probably hugely important.
Okay, then.
Sheriff. Hello, doctor. It was doctor, right?
Yes, I am a doctor, Dr. Doomsayer.
Any relation to the Rhode Island Doomsayers? I believe they were chiropodists or something. Anyway, lovely couple, Celia and Greg. Although, if you know Greg, when he got drunk, he could really...
No, I don't know them, and I don't believe we're related.
Shame. Greg has a lovely house, and his daughter, Peregrine, just learned how to tie a half-bosun threepenny knot in camp, and now all the local yachtsmen, of course, they were...
Sorry, Sheriff. It is rather urgent.
Oh, of course. Where are my manners? So, would you like some tea? I know. Not the usual coffee swillers here. We're branching out. I believe Eric even has some Lapsang Souchong.
No tea, please. I must tell you.
Right. Yes, so sorry. What's the matter?
Death has come to your small town, Sheriff.
I'm sorry, but could you be more specific?
You need to be aware what you're up against. He's no man.
So a woman, then? Maybe non-binary transgender, gender fluid, third sex, gender gifted, androgynous, perhaps?
No. Pure and simply evil. I met him 15 years ago. I was told there was nothing left, no reason, no conscience, no understanding, and even the most rudimentary sense of life or death or good or evil, right or wrong. I met this 6-year-old child with this blank, pale, emotionless face, and the blackest eyes, the devil's eyes.
So it is a he, and it's a child? Sorry, this is all sounding rather vague and confusing.
Okay, right, look. There's a bloody great serial killer in a boiler suit and a mask who's escaped a mental institution.
Well, wait, that's not very PC from where I come from. We call them psychiatric hospitals or places for brainial rehabilitation.
Look, he's a hulking great loony maniac in a mask who's looking to come to your small town and carve up some bleeding babysitters.
Oh, right. Well, we should go find him and stop him then.
Wait, you're just going to believe me? Just like that?
Well, yes. I mean, we have to take any reported threat to the public seriously.
Well, that's not how this works.
What do you mean? No, look, we can't stand around talking. We've done far too much of that already. It's my fault as much as yours. But, look, I need to take down and arrest this serial killer you're talking about.
Please, Sheriff, could you at least be just a little skeptical?
No, I don't know why you would ask that. Now, look, could you give a description to our sketch artist, Alan? I'm going to call in the rest of our squad.
No, this is all wrong.
What now?
Well, you're not meant to believe me. There's meant to be no one in the station who can talk in full sentences, let alone sketch artists and whatnot. And then when word accidentally gets out of there being a serial killer, local gangs of wild, drunk hillbillies are meant to ride around shooting innocent bystanders by mistake.
Well, that doesn't sound very productive, and may I say, that also sounds incredibly stereotypical and judgmental of our local inhabitants. Let me just tell you right now that the people of this town are incredibly well-learned people and respective of all races, creeds, genders. And...
Well, it may not sound very productive, but you'd be surprised. I mean, despite quite a lot of collateral damage and several gruesome deaths, we do normally catch him in the end.
Well, then what happens?
Well, then we kill him.
What?
Oh, but he doesn't stay dead. And, well, like I said, it's not really a man in the traditional sense anyway.
Look, this is all starting to sound very far-fetched and repetitive. Are you sure about all of this?
That's more like it.
What?
Perfect level of skepticism. Let's go.
All right, look, I'll follow you alone, but if this turns out to be a waste of time, I'm locking you up.
Now you're getting it.
You really are very strange.
You don't know the half of it. In my spare time, I like to pretend I'm Sir Edmund Hillary and I construct a giant mountain out of old shoeboxes and marshmallows.
And now on Radio Flange Goblet, it's something even more horrific than that last sketch. It's the Halloween episode of the After Movie Diner.
You're listening to the After Movie Diner with your host, John Cross.
That's right, I am John Cross, and down, deep inside, I'm just always a little unsure about what my shoe size really is. Well, welcome ladies. Ladies in large trousers, ladies in broad-brimmed hats, ladies who go by the name of Herbert, ladies who aren't afraid to poke us one, ladies who were until recently members of the band Shawaddy Waddy, ladies who prefer ice cream shaped like gynecological sketches, ladies who have punched a herring, ladies who roll under other ladies carrying large citrus fruit, ladies who are called Ethel but ask you in a high-pitched voice and with excessive drooling to call them Ethel, ladies who prefer to be called women, women who prefer to be called gals, gals who prefer to be called toots, and gentlemen hiding in the corner hoping not to say anything too derogatory when a little person walks into a bar and orders a highball. Welcome one and welcome all. Before we get to this week's show, I normally remind you to support our show on Patreon by going over to patreon.com/aftermoviediner, or to buy one of the miscellaneous plumbing fixtures albums, or to donate to the show by pressing the buy us a coffee button on the website, or to rate and review us on iTunes. I mean, really, I do ask you to do a ton of stuff at the beginning of each show, and I'm sure it gets tedious. Well, you can still do all that, and it would be more appreciated than Roger Moore walking into a very expensive hotel room in the south of France to find 3 Peruvian call girls, a donkey, a vat of scotch, and some After Eight mints. But this week's show is brought to you by the new album from Motown Media, MO75. That's MO75, by the band The Big Heist, featuring the excellent musicianship and songwriting talents of Matt Farley, Tom Scalzo, Pete Peterson, and Doug Brennan, better known to the world as Froggy. It's a tremendous 12-track album which is available to listen to on Spotify, Google Play, and Amazon Music, and available to purchase on iTunes, Amazon, CDBaby, or wherever music is found. It is MO75, that's MO75, by the band The Big Heist. And we're going to be playing a few selections throughout the show, so please do sit back and enjoy this first offering, which is called The Longest Day. And then we're going to slip ever so gingerly and wearing something fabulous into a diner in New York City.
Well, the longest day was already 3 weeks ago, and right now there's a heat wave, but soon the nights will be getting cold, and sure, it'll be nice to sleep without the air conditioning, but as soon as we've opened up the windows, that means summer's finishing. Time anticipating, and now the summer's quickly fading, if I cannot change your mind, I'm gonna leave you behind.
Well, it has been a while. It's been a while.
One of us is well, we're both married now,
Yeah, I'm married.
but not to each other.
No.
That's not the.
Wait, you went there? That was the first
No, I'm just
thing
saying. I said we're both married now, and I realise that might sound like the reason for the break is that we went off and got married.
that we went off and got married.
Yeah.
I think people, having listened to this show for as long as they've been listening,
Yeah.
they would probably find it surprising if we had anything
Else to say?
anything. No.
To each
If we
other?
had anything approaching, admiration, love
Aberration.
desire.
Okay, no, all right, fair enough.
You know what I'm saying, though?
You're saying at best we have tolerance.
Well, no, we're like...
So if we reach really deep down inside, like the best parts of ourselves, we can dredge up tolerance for each other.
well, we have patience and tolerance.
Patience, right.
We're like the married couple that have been together for 50 years and are just kind of limping along, knowing
Just
that
waiting to die.
knowing that there's
Get on with it.
knowing that there's nothing else out there worth doing.
Yeah. Well, that is true. As this movie neatly encapsulates.
Well, anyway, let's not go there yet.
Sorry, mate. Sorry, mate.
Sorry. So it has been a while.
It's
been a while.
while.
But we're back. The After Movie Diner is back, just in time to squeak one out like a little.
No. The metaphor does not need to be completed. I'd like that to be an unfinished simile forever.
To squeak one out just before Halloween.
Okay.
And this is a very special episode because not only is it the first episode back with me as married man, which I am now. I am married. But also it is podcast co-host day. I've declared it.
Oh, is it?
Podcast co-host day. Oh. Because I feel
you've declared it, right?
Well, because I feel this, and tell me if I'm wrong. You and I started doing the show like this in diners.
Yes.
And we did have that moment where I declared you an official co-host kind of thing.
Did that happen?
It did happen. I
There
was a moment.
I vaguely remember feeling proud,
Yeah.
like a year or two ago. Do you know what I mean?
But beyond
I
that,
had pride in myself.
a
distant memory.
Right. We've not really shone a light on you. It's always been about the podcast, Patreon, reviewing us on iTunes,
right.
Buying some merch. It's always been about either the After Movie Diner in general, or me as the big egomaniacal host, who kind of
without whom
rules,
wheels would not turn.
Who kind of rules everything,
which is what
with
happened
an
because
iron.
you go off and get married and there's nothing.
Nothing.
It's just a wasteland.
Well, that's why you're the co-host, and you're not the guy who's like, well, if he's gone for 2 weeks, I'm going to roll up my sleeves and do my.
And I'll dig in, and
I'll dig in. You'll get another co-host.
The thought occurred to me that maybe I could do that and take the pressure off you a bit and make sure there was still a small amount of money rolling into your pocket. But then I didn't. Well, because the trouble is I realised that what I do is I go to the cinema with people, and other than you, I don't go to the cinema with anyone.
Right.
And who'd go to the cinema with me unless you kind of had to? You know what I mean?
Right. Who would sit next to your smell?
Right.
If it wasn't beneficial to some sort of podcast.
Right.
And he's quite right, ladies and gentlemen. But I do feel that on this episode, as it's our Halloween episode, I would like to turn it over and just sort of say, I have a wonderful co-host.
Thanks, man.
He's a pretty great co-host. He's awesome, and known him a long time. And I think this week's thing should be follow you on Twitter.
Oh yeah, please.
Follow you on Twitter.
That would be great. Thank you very much.
So why don't you tell everyone your Twitter handle?
Oh, okay. So it's I think I forgot my Twitter handle.
It is @J_E_A_Wallace, capital W.
I've really got to come up with a better handle, haven't I?
Yeah, you really have. Well, it's a shitty. I mean, when it's up there with the shittiest of handles. No, it's not.
Yeah, but it should be like Bobcat Ball Lake or something like easy to remember.
It should be Bobcat Ball Lake. Can you explain to me why? Why it would be?
Because it trips off the tongue.
Well,
you know what I mean?
So does just Jim. Jim.
I'm pretty sure @Jim is taken.
Okay, but what about according to Jim? You could pay reference to the James Belushi TV series that went 6 seasons.
Did it?
Yeah. It went 8 seasons, actually.
Well, we're not alone in thinking, that Belushi has talent and charisma.
Yeah, but not on that TV.
I never saw that TV
It was the lowest. If you want lowest common denominator American sitcom, look no further.
Did he say things that were insufferable and then his family went, "No"?
Yes, that happened.
Right.
One of the famous.
Did he have daughters that he really didn't understand?
Probably. one of the famous slapstick sequences that have gone down in televisual history.
Right.
Is he makes himself an enormous plate of food.
Right.
Right. And puts it on like a TV dinner tray.
Right.
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 Then he sits down. Then he realizes, he doesn't have like the bottle opener for his beer, so he has to like put the tray down, get up, get the beer.
This is already gone. Do you know what I mean?
Sit back down. Anyway, he gets his like tall glass and finally pours the beer in it until the beer is right at the top of the glass.
Right. And just at the moment when everything looks great.
Then he realizes he doesn't have the remote control or something, right? Then the phone rings. Like, it goes on and on and on. Right. Until he spills a bit of beer on himself because his friend shows up at the door.
That's it?
That's it.
That's what it builds to?
That's what it builds to.
I thought it was going to be like one of those like bottle episodes, whatever, where the whole episode is just him doing that and it just goes on and on.
No, because that would be actually something inventive.
And challenging.
Yeah, right.
Unlike the movie. Hey, how you doing?
How are you?
Good, thank you.
I have not chosen yet.
You don't know what you want?
Could I have just 2 more minutes?
Okay.
Sorry, I was ready.
Sorry,
Okay.
I'm still looking. This is a wonderful menu.
Yeah, I'm actually having trouble. I would have gone with the house special.
As it's co-host day, why didn't you tell the listeners where we are?
Oh, okay. We are in the Murray Avenue. Is that where we are? What's it called?
Murray Hill Diner.
Murray Hill Diner. We're in the Murray Hill Diner.
There's no Murray Avenue. You just made that up.
I did. That's what I was saying. I was going, but there's no Murray Avenue. Murray Hill Diner. We're at the intersection. If you stand at the corner of this street, right outside the diner, you can see both the Empire State Building down one street,
over to the west,
and down 3rd Avenue. You can see the Chrysler Building, Avenue. Which is not. I've never come across that before. You can see both buildings at once. I mean, except from far away,
very
high above,
high above or far
high
away.
above or far
high
away,
above or
high above or far away. Maybe that should be my Twitter handle: high above or far away.
No, don't ever do that. I'd rather Bobcat Burgers or whatever you said.
Bobcat Ball Lake.
Bobcat Ballsack. Old Jimmy Ballsack.
Oh, Jimmy the Ballsack.
Be old Jimmy.
the Ballsack.
He's not. He's J_E_A_Wallace. Wallace. WALLACE.
Yeah, I should do.
And the only reason that I've like, because you were saying to me the other day, I'm trying to get some followers, and I'd really like more followers on Twitter. And I suddenly realized that, like, although I tag you in everything that I do, so I tag you on Facebook and I tag you on Twitter, we've never made like a big deal about the fact that while you can reach out to the host of the After Movie Diner,
also reach out to the co-host.
Also reach out to the co-host.
Ask me any questions you like.
Yeah,
bother me. I've got opinions. I've got opinions.
He has got opinions, and he
And
will
they're
tell
fresh.
you. He will tell you them at length. I don't know how fresh they are. Because often his opinions feel like something that he's just picked off the underside of his shoe, dusted off, put in a back pocket for later.
But those are the best opinions of all, man.
They are. Well, they are opinions. They are.
Can't get any better opinions than that.
opinions
They're like
go.
road-tested opinions.
What are you having?
I'm going to have the chicken Florentine.
Oh, lardy bloody
Grilled
da.
chicken with spinach, feta cheese, grated Parmesan cheese, and marinara sauce on garlic hero bread.
Fetid cheese.
Feta.
Fetid.
Come on, he's back now. Do you know
No,
what you
no,
want?
I know what I'm on.
Oh, he knows what he wants.
2 more minutes.
Cool, yeah.
No, I'm gonna-
So can I get
Alright.
the chicken Florentine?
Chicken Florentine sandwich.
Yes,
okay?
please. Thank you very much. And can
No
I,
fries, right?
no fries, no thank you.
No, okay.
And can I also get just a cup of English breakfast tea?
English breakfast tea.
Yes, with milk. Thank you.
Okay.
Can I get the chicken pot pie?
Same check, right? No more chicken papaya. I'm sorry.
Oh dear.
See, look at that.
Oh,
Wait
dear.
2 minutes. I ordered something. There's no more of it. I'll be very quick then. What they got? Fries.
I bring you the tea.
Thank you very much. That'd be great.
You want
Thank
something
you.
to drink?
Yes. No, I'm fine with water.
Okay.
I'm good with water. Thank you.
Murray Hill, hot pastrami with melted Swiss cheese and so. Look, why don't you just order ham, egg, and chips? You know that's what you're going to order.
I'm not
Just
gonna order
ask
ham,
the
egg,
guy for ham, egg, and
Stop.
chips.
What's
Okay.
Murray Hill?
Do you want to get a bacon potato omelette?
A bacon potato
I
omelette.
don't know, but you usually get like. Okay. What will he get? What will he order in his sweater? I like your sweater.
What will I order in my sweater?
Yeah. At in my sweater.
You could start up another Twitter handle
Okay.
and be at.
I'm very literal and not very clued in as to like why things work or why they're good. You know, so when I set up the Twitter account,
Well, no. To be fair,
I tried
to you,
at J.A. Wallace. I tried to be consistent.
But to be fair, the whole JEA thing is because your writer name when you publish
my
poetry,
nom de plume,
when you publish poetry is JEA Wallace.
J.A. Wallace, yeah.
Like J.R. Hartley.
Exactly like J.R. Hartley.
Yeah. And
Only
then,
less famous.
the name
J.R.
Hartley.
He's very sweet.
He is.
Do you know what you want? For this
Like,
bag?
yes, I do know what I want.
Thank you very much. Lovely, smash it.
I'd like the Murray Hill, please.
Murray Hill omelette or Murray Hill sandwich?
Murray Hill sandwich, please. The
Okay.
hot pastrami with the Swiss and the...
Okay, Murray Hill sandwich. You got it, buddy.
Great,
Cool.
thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you, mate.
you.
Lovely.
Yeah, so you were trying to set up your both Facebook and Twitter handles to correspond with
Exactly. I mean,
your
and at
burgeoning
J.A.
writing.
Wallace was not available.
Right.
Weirdly.
So you became J.
So I did the underscores because that's my.
Well, it's
that's
also
my
the
email.
same as your brother is at John _ Wallace because he couldn't just be _one
He
Wallace.
knowing him, he probably just pressed the underscore once too often, and then was just too lazy to press delete.
No. I think it's because there's already there's a John Wallace who's a photographer, and there's also a John Wallace who's like a trumpet player or something like that.
So he's an exalted company.
Well, I don't know. I mean, have you ever heard of John Wallace, the trumpet player?
No.
No. Well,
I've heard of
exactly.
John Wallace, the science fiction author extraordinaire.
Right, exactly. Your brother, my pal.
He should have been like John Wallace SF. You know what I mean? Something like that.
No, he shouldn't have been John Wallace SF because that could have equally.
That would limit his.
That could
genre.
have also been John Wallace shitface or John Wallace stupid front.
Stupid face. I know it's the same as shit face, but it's nicer. It's
But
more
you
family
have-
friendly.
you have the
I'm
more-
basically the more family friendly co-host of the podcast.
But
you know what I mean?
you have the more
If-
stupid
when-
face of the two of you.
Well, that's true. But if and when this podcast takes off into the stratosphere, I feel
Right.
like when Disney come calling,
Right.
do you know what I mean, to syndicate us
Yeah.
or whatever.
You're
like,
the one that they go, can we
They
replace
will get
it?
rid of you. I just want you to know they will get rid of you.
Me?
Oh, yeah. Because I'm more family friendly. That's what I'm saying.
Oh wait, you're saying,
you're just a bucket of knob jokes. It's too much for Disney, mate.
Oh wait, you're saying.
If we were on HBO, they'd get rid of me.
You're saying they'd get
Because
rid of
I'm,
me.
yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong, it'd be rubbish. I was supposed to say, if HBO like syndicate the podcast, it would be like you
Right.
and I don't know,
Rob Corddry.
who's
or
that really angry American guy that shouts all the time? He's like a comedian. Lewis Black. You and Lewis Black. That's who the podcast would be. It's two people yelling at each other.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the dynamic people want. I think people
No, I
like
agree.
the
No,
dynamic.
they'd
that you
ruin
and I
it.
have.
They'd ruin it.
They would ruin it.
They just go,
Either
we'll
that or
with
they-
him again, only American, so it's more,
Either that or they'd
relatable.
replace you with like Seth Green or something.
Yeah, you know what they would, wouldn't they? You're right.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's exactly what they would do. They would replace me with Seth Green
Or Rob Corddry.
and you with Seth Rogen,
Oh fuck.
and it would no longer be our show. We'd just be like bitter, and we'd have to start something called like the After Movie Donor or something.
The after movie Donor.
Yeah.
Or Donut.
After Movie Donor, I like it. Then we go to Dunkin' Donuts or donut joints around the city
Oh okay.
because it's got another hook.
Right. But I thought you were like after movie Donor, where we both have to like give up our livers or something.
Well, we've got to come up with a gimmick, mate, because Green and Rogan are taking us to the cleaners.
So we have to sit there and go through like dialysis or whatever.
So, okay, well, here's one way we can differentiate ourselves from Rogan and Green right here, right now. I'm willing to bet.
Well, first of all-
dollars to donuts.
Yeah.
Rogan and Green really love the Halloween movie,
Right.
right?
Well, they have to because Rogan has to because his friend co-wrote.
Right, but you also know they would really like it.
Why? I don't know.
Well, people seem to, right?
Well, it's made a lot of money,
Right.
but and I kind of want to get into that. Okay. So
If you want to frame it, if you want to use something that we like to call in the podcasting world a framing.
I'm only I'm only letting you go down this tunnel because one or two. First of all, it's.
I was so confident. I was so confident I was going to be able to
Second,
come up with something.
the
A framing something, right?
baguette.
a framing device. I was just looking for the word device, and it just.
Why were you looking for the word device?
I don't know.
It was right
I can look
there,
for the word.
tacked onto the end
I
of
can look for the
framing.
word device. I know.
With a big light
I
around
know.
it.
Mostly people only say the word framing when it's followed by the word device, especially if they're arseheads
Or
who are like framing,
Framing
which is basically that's what I bring to the podcast. I bring to the podcast things
What?
that make people roll their eyes.
subpar commodian bollocks.
Yeah, exactly. How often do you think people roll their eyes when I start talking? A fair few, right?
No, I don't-
I
I
think
don't
it
think
could
they-
be as high as 60%.
I think they hang on.
I reckon I get.
I think they
from
hang on
60%
tenterhooks of whether you're going to have
one-
chamomile tea, green tea, or regular tea.
Yeah, but I'm not even that. Like the tea is the not interesting part of my order.
No, people love the tea. People love the tea.
Because they like. That's my point, right? People
I don't
like
have
knowing what
enough
they're going to
tea.
get.
I'm too Americanized.
No, because you get the same food, which
I haven't this
which
time.
for some
I've gone
reason.
for a month.
No, I agree. But for some reason, they don't like that you get the same food, but
They
they
really
like that I
don't.
get the same tea. Who like?
No, you have 3 different teas in the past. When your stomach was a bit jippy, you used to have the chamomile and the green.
That's true.
Now you're a bit hardier.
I know, but they don't expect me to order the green or the chamomile anymore. They know
don't?
that. No, but they like the fact that I
Gone.
order the tea.
Past.
It's like, oh, that's his signature. But with you, like, ham, egg, and chips just makes you dull.
That's right, ham, egg, and chips do make me dull. But you know what doesn't make me dull? Listening to MO75 by the Big Heist on Spotify, or buying it on iTunes, both of which I've done. Anyway, let's listen to their song Crossroads, not the Crossroads, Robert Johnson Cross, but their song Crossroads from the album MO75 by the Big Heist. It's kicking.
Do you know what we haven't done?
Okay, what?
Our new feature.
Oh,
which
yeah.
is our life advice, or whatever it is. Life,
By new, you mean
life bits.
we came up with it a month ago.
Life
What's our
bits.
Well, I think you should be the life bit, because I gave my life bits last time.
I
It should
gave
be
my
your
life bits.
No, you didn't. You've forgotten the bit completely. I was the one that gave the life bits. I can't remember what my advice was. It was pretty good, though.
I gave you advice about what to do on trains. I gave you the life bit about your insane paranoia about the person from work who you saw on
Oh, is
the
that what
train.
that was?
Yeah, and I gave you the life
I was got it my turn.
So I have to come up with a problem, but I don't have any problems right now. Well, I mean, I have problems.
That's nice.
but-
You don't have any problems.
Well, I have problems, but they're all deep-rooted in my own
yeah, I can't
insecurities.
hope to solve that.
No.
Nobody can, mate.
What I mean is, I didn't sit opposite someone, a co-worker, on a train and pretend to be.
Can I just say that John, when John came over for your wedding, right, when my brother came over for a wedding,
Yeah.
he was the only person that gave me sympathy for that. So it is genetic. It's good.
Life bits, though. What bits of advice can we do? Forget us.
Okay,
What bits
so
of
just
advice
like more general
should we
advice.
depart to the listener?
Well, how about
How about
this?
don't go and see Halloween 2018 if you haven't already?
Yeah,
how
good
about
point.
that?
Yeah, that's a good
life
bit.
advice.
That's a very
number
good
one.
piece of advice.
Just don't go see it. Don't bother.
How about this? How about if you haven't already?
That kind of like put it all on Front Street though. Now no one's going to listen to our actual review of the thing because they're going to be like, oh, of course the grumpy old men didn't like it, and then they're going to turn
Yeah,
off.
but I had no axe to grind at all. Like I don't even think that the original Halloween is in. Well, I know it's not in my top 20 horror movies. Like it's just not. I'm not saying it's not good. Like it's a good film and I like it. It's just I'm not precious about it at all. I
You're
don't
not
think
a
it's
slasher
like,
fan.
No, it's like no, I don't mind slasher films at all. But I definitely prefer.
Look at that.
Lovely.
That
Thank
is
you very much.
smashing.
Smashing.
Fantastic.
Thank you. Look at
Chief.
that. Brilliant.
Everything good, my friends?
Do you want my pickle? Are you a pickle man? And
No,
when I
not
say
with this,
pickle,
not
I'm
with
not
this,
talking about my penis. I'm talking about this fucking vinegar-soaked cucumber that Americans seem to stick on every goddamn sandwich.
God damn, that's a good sandwich. I'm gonna have to eat it with a knife and fork.
Can I put it on your dish?
Yeah.
Oh, it's dripping everywhere. Ugh.
I do like pickles, just I'm not.
No, they're the worst. Stop putting them on my sandwiches.
No, I'm very well. I'm fond of them when I have like a shrimp roll.
You're fondling them. You're
I'm
fondling
fond of them.
You're fondling pickles.
When I have a shrimp roll, a pickle goes an absolute treat with a shrimp roll.
So here's a pickle with a shrimp roll.
Yeah.
Oh, you're all kinds of gross.
No, I'm not at all.
What other life hacks can we give people? This
they could do-
bit doesn't work.
It does. What about the thing that I did today, which was I cancelled Movie Pass and I got AMC. What's it called again?
Oh, don't start pimping for AMC. They're not giving us any money.
Well, Movie Pass.
Right, well, we didn't really pimp for them either.
That was good.
Well, you kind of did. You went on. It became your little thing to grind.
Well, I'm not getting anything from them. I'm just saying, we go and see a lot of movies,
Yeah.
right? We've been assiduous users of Movie Pass for a long time.
The AMC
We've been
Stubbs
unable to
A-listers.
use it
Now
for a
we got
while.
what we got.
Right, because you can't see stuff, so it's like, fuck it.
Yeah, but that's a serious life hack. All right. Well, this
All right.
bit doesn't work. We don't.
You're
have
going to cut
any
this
bits
with
of
this
it.
bit out in here.
No,
Let me get rid of
what
it.
was the
Get a
woman's
bit.
name who had like bits of
I
advice?
can't
for
Nina
Nina Santa Maria.
Nina Ninmeister? I can't remember. Nina Meister.
Nina Meister. Well, we'll leave bits of advice to her then. This clearly doesn't work.
Clearly this podcasting game is harder than we...
I would say this.
Right.
Buried deep within
Right.
the last 200 and whatever episodes of the After Movie Diner is all the advice you need, mate.
That's true.
Buried deep within, there
That's
are
true. If you listen to every single episode of the After Movie Diner,
there be
you
life
will be...
lessons.
Will they be wiser? Because bearing in mind, by listening to the After Movie Diner, they will be not listening to or doing other things. Mm-hmm. So it's like... Are there other things people could be doing with their lives that are more rewarding than listening to this?
Well, clearly.
Right.
I mean, for example, on honeymoon, I went snorkeling and saw pretty fish. That was infinitely more rewarding. Actually, that's not true. This is by far one of the most rewarding things I do with my life is come see movies with you and talk about them in a diner. All joking aside, that is legitimately one of the more rewarding things I do with my life.
I would agree with you on that. I am also kept moderately sane by doing it.
But I cannot say that listening to this,
Yeah, it's not. Yeah,
it's not the same as doing it.
no. I do feel for the listeners.
So stop listening and go do it, is what we're saying. Which is, I think, a great message for a podcast to put out there. Just stop listening. World's full of white men talking about bollocks.
That's true.
So, with a Halloween movie, I'm a little bit unsure of how to proceed. Because...
How do we talk about the fact that it's rubbish without sounding like we're being precious? But that's why I wanted to say I don't have anything for.
No, but before we get into the actual movie itself,
Right.
I've been sitting on a whole bunch of questions, especially surrounding like the conversation around this movie,
Right.
most predominantly spearheaded by Jamie Lee Curtis herself.
Right.
And gleefully picked up by the likes of People and Entertainment Weekly and everyone else, because everything is for sale and everything is worth shilling, even if it means apparently removing the last vestiges of your soul.
Right.
But, so I don't know whether I want to talk about that. Like, I don't know whether I want to go chronologically.
Okay.
In other words, how do I feel about the franchise? How do you feel about the franchise? Then go into the marketing of the new movie, and then talk about the new movie.
Talk about structure. Right.
Talk about the movie, and then double back on that other stuff.
I think we should just talk about the movie at least to start with, because I think all the rest of it it'll just cut.
All right.
But it's up to you. Listen, mate, this is this is very much your rodeo.
Just remind me.
You said you want... Okay, let me put it another way then. You said before we did this that you had something you wanted to get off your chest.
I do, yeah.
So why don't we start there?
Well, I want to put the review of the movie in some sort of context.
Okay.
The thing I have to go off my chest, I think, can happen at the end.
Okay.
But I think I want to preface, like you prefaced, I have no axe to grind, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
I want to preface.
Well, that is your right.
Well, because I think everybody thinks that I'm a grumpy old man, I just hate things indiscriminately, I'm bitter and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And it's very difficult to...
No, I get it. You want to be...
Well, no, it's very difficult to say, actually, I personally just feel like I'm discerning. And I don't mean in a pompous, better than everyone else way. I just mean in terms of my tastes and in terms of my opinions. I feel that I am, rather than just being like... Because I see a lot of this online, and I don't mean that this is a bad thing. But I see a lot of people who have the opinion of, well, I've always been a fan of the Halloween franchise, and even if it's slightly compromised, more of that is a good thing, and we should be happy that there is more of that out there.
Right.
And I'm not completely of that opinion. I've said a lot that I feel that, for me, the franchise finishes with H2O.
Right.
Because I feel that 1, 2, and 7 work great as a Laurie Strode trilogy. 4, 5, and 6, while also trying to tell some other stories which I really wish they'd kind of fleshed out and actually got into, although they didn't, because after 6 there was a whole bunch of legal hoojama flips until H2O came out years later. But 4, 5, and 6 sort of tells the Jamie Lloyd story, at least 4 and 5 does, with like the beginning of 6. 3 is its own thing. It's Tom Atkins and the masks and the Season of the Witch and the whole thing, which is its own thing and has gained quite legitimately its own following, and all power to it because it's a really good movie. And it should just be called Season of the Witch. It shouldn't be called Halloween anything, because I think then people are like, well, people go, well, it's my favorite Halloween movie, and I'm like, yeah, but it's a completely different beast to the like Halloween 1 and 2, like pitting it against Halloween 1, which is sort of the godfather of its genre, even though it's predated by Black Christmas and Psycho and a few others. Halloween is still considered the godfather of the cliches in the genre of the slasher horror. And to pit that against Season of the Witch, it's just not, it's two completely different things. It's like trying to talk about Return of the Living Dead and Night of the Living Dead. Like, it's two, they're certainly related, but they're not within the same franchise. And even that's not a good example, whatever. Upshot of all that is, because of I have a genuine love and fandom of slasher horror films. And the first franchise of slasher horror films that I personally got into and has stuck with me to this day is the Halloween franchise. And I've seen all the Fridays and I've seen the Nightmares. That's like the two other big franchises. And I certainly have some affection for the Friday series, and there's a few of the Nightmares that I enjoy. But Halloween is always the one that I come back to, even though certainly since Part 7, or even before Part 7 in some people's opinion, but after Part 7 it's become a compromised and confusing mess, because 8 is just an absolute terrible movie that commits the cardinal sin of retconning the end of H2O and killing Laurie Strode.
Which one's 8? What's
one blow? 8 is Resurrection, and it's the one with Busta Rhymes literally doing kung fu on Michael Myers after a hoary attempt to kind of crowbar in reality TV commentary with the Halloween franchise. It's really fucking awful. Oh, and ride the coattails of like Paranormal Activity and all that kind of shit. And it's just a mess of a movie, and it the reason why I strike it from the record is because Halloween H2O, in my way of thinking, has a perfect fucking ending. A perfect fucking ending to the franchise. Laurie Strode in that movie has a wonderful character arc. She ends up taking back the power, taking back the strength, taking off Michael's head, and unless you're going to have Michael's head grow tentacles like out of the Thing and scurry off and just admit that he is supernatural, that puts an end to the franchise. You lop his fucking head off.
Right.
And you do it in a really cool way, in my way of thinking. Like, I really enjoy the end of H2O. H2O has its issues, and that would be another episode, but I really like the ending of H2O, and I think that Jamie Lee Curtis's character arc, and we'll get into the marketing of that later in the episode, but Jamie Lee Curtis's character arc in H2O is so much more satisfying and interesting than Halloween 2018. So that's where I come. I come from someone who is very passionate about the first 7 Halloween movies. Seen them all multiple times. Huge Donald Pleasance fan, huge Jamie Lee Curtis fan, huge John Carpenter fan. Just all round. It's my, next to Evil Dead, it's like my horror franchise. So there's that. Everyone knows that I'm obviously predisposed to dislike remakes. I also think it's incredibly lazy writing to just go, well, let's forget Halloween 2 through 7 or 2 through 8 and just do our own thing. Like, you can forget Halloween 8 and maybe you could have continued the Strode story after H2O, although it would have been fairly redundant. I would have preferred to not go with Laurie Strode and go with like a building out of part 5 and 6, which has a lot of stuff about this underground society that has sort of been worshipping Myers and like tried to delve into some of Myers' like supernatural tendencies tied with like a long-lasting kind of conspiracy thing, which I'm a fan of. People aren't, but I'm kind of like a fan of that kind of stuff. But at least if you're going to do a new one and you want to have Laurie in it, I just don't know that completely getting rid of all the other films was the way I would have gone. And while I was very, very skeptical going in, I was also very, very intrigued. And what I really wanted, because I think people think I go in with like, I'm not going to like this, so I'm not going to like this.
Right.
I actually went in going, please surprise me. Like, please show me. I went in with like, I will give you the benefit of the doubt if you just give me 15 minutes that I can go, that I can hang my hat on and go, it's worthy that this exists in the franchise because of them 15 minutes. If you could have given me that, I would have forgiven the whole movie. And I really went in with that in my heart, my head. Like, just all you have to do, Gordon Green, is just like, and Jamie Lee Curtis, like, just give me that 10, 15 minutes. And it just didn't do it. So that's how I went into the movie. Do you think that prefaces our discussion of the film well, or would you add to that?
No. I mean, I think all I would say, I pretty much said the idea that I went in. I mean, I'm always a bit. I like being surprised anyway, right? And I will give things the benefit of the doubt. That, like the other day, I watched Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter, and while I was watching Hansel and Gretel Witch Hunter,
I enjoy that.
Right, I was going, this is quite good. This is all right. This is quite fun. I'm enjoying this.
I won't watch it again, but it was fun for a Saturday afternoon.
But it wasn't bad at all. So I'm always like in the mood to be, surprised and entertained, right? And plus, I'm not precious. Now, if this had been like, I almost certainly will never see the remake of Assault on Precinct 13, right? Because I fucking love Assault on Precinct 13, and I won't see the prequel. I might see the prequel to The Thing. I don't mind if it's a prequel, because it's like, that's fine.
The prequel to The Thing was redundant for 2 reasons. A, because in John Carpenter's The Thing, it basically fills in all the story beats that the prequel has to do anyway, because they go to the Norwegians' camp and shows you so much of it. But secondly, because all they chose to do was essentially remake The Thing, but as a prequel, and then cumbersomely had to hit all the bits you knew they had to hit based on the deaths they discover and the thing. So it became like
I'm just saying. I haven't seen it. I'm just saying. My point is, I don't want to see a film PG-13 because I love a film PG-13, and this with Fishburne and Hawke it's a remake. So I'm not really interested in that because I don't see how you could do it better. However, I can't see a remake of The Thing. I don't want to see that either because I can't see you do it better. But if you're going to tell a story before that, that's right. That could be garbage. It could be like sea-level garbage. But that's okay because it's the thing that happened before, and I can live with it. Do you know what I mean? For whatever reason, I can live with it. So I didn't have any I don't know about 4, 5, 6 or whether 2 happened or didn't happen, or I didn't even know the resurrection fight. I'm so not in any way up on what happened to who when in the Halloween franchise. But it's a big famous horror movie. People are saying nice things about it. It's got Jamie Lee Curtis in it. Carpenter's blessing, Carpenter's music. I'm interested. And I knew, in ways that often happen to me, I knew within 5 minutes that I was going to hate it.
Yep.
And it was the moment when he was holding up the mask, going, look at it, say something. Well, first of all, the 2 people playing, did everybody in the film, except for Jamie Lee Curtis, have to be, and Will Patton, have to be, really terrible? They were all awful. Really,
Who was Will Patton?
Awful, the sheriff guy.
Oh, yeah.
But the boyfriend was a dick. The fat Fred was a dick. The 2 people in the podcast were dicks. Everybody was a dick. And not in I hope they get kicked, but just I don't even want to look at your face, you're such a dick.
Yeah, the 2 journalists at the beginning.
They were just awful.
That was such a... Somewhere along the line. See, this is my other problem. So this talks to...
Anyway, sorry, can I just very quickly
finish it? Yeah.
The reason I knew I was going to hate it was he was holding up the mask, going, say something, and all around him, the lunatics are going crazy, and the dogs are barking, and it was all completely phony. Do you know what I mean? There wasn't anything of a real moment of, I bought this mask that you haven't seen in 40 years, the thing that you wore to cover yourself, because the point is, it's not about the mask, right?
It was never about the mask. I don't even know where they...
He puts a clown mask on when he's a kid. He just doesn't want his face to be seen. He wants to presumably... I'm sure people have written about what the mask thing is, but it's not
supernatural.
Oh, this mask is special.
Right.
It means something to you. So he could have held up anyone. But anyway, even leaving aside that, right? Even though that's a lot of bollocks.
In fact, you know what would have been interesting?
What's that?
Had in this movie, when he escaped, he put a different mask on. Because the mask doesn't matter.
Yeah, anyway, carry on. But it was all so phony. The dogs, and I was I've seen these bits in movies. I've seen these happen in horror movies where there's a crescendo of noise of supporting characters or dogs or whatever. That bring you to this crescendo, then something happens, and then there's Halloween, the title. It was so cliche. It was just like the rest of the movie. It was stolen from other movies without any understanding of why it works. They just know that, I like it when that happens.
But it wasn't stolen well because I thought the editing was really bad.
No,
if you're going to do that, you need to have Michael, blah, and then bam, 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 bam. Everything was great.
Fantastic, yeah, thank you.
You have to have it go Michael, look at the man, and then have bam, 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 have the music just fucking nail you to the back of the seat. They didn't even do that. It just came up with the Halloween thing and then a pumpkin re-inflated. What is that even?
The whole thing is summed up for me.
No, the whole thing is summed up by the pumpkin re-inflating. That's what the whole film is summed up to me by. Anyway, carry on.
That's fair enough. But yeah, so I knew right then, while it was happening, I thought, I'm going to hate this because this is stolen from other movies. I recognise I've seen this in other movies, and it's not exciting or interesting or menacing or anything that's happening.
Well, as this review descends, predictably maybe in some people's eyes, into negativity, don't worry, the devil is on my side. Well, the Big Heist tells me so in their album, MO75, the devil is on my side. Yeah, it is.
fits with me. There'll never be another you who fits with me. Take off those heels so you don't slip. Sway back low, I'll give you a dip. I'll take a one-way ticket on this rundown sinking ship. I'll take a one-way ticket on this rundown sinking ship. Don't be shy, let's see that world inside. There's no getting closer, but Lord knows I tried. I got no need for angels when the devil's on my side. Don't be shy, let's see that world inside. There's no getting closer, but Lord knows I tried. Got no need for angels when the devil is on my side.
Like, I liked the other thing. There was a bit when they had the shot from above, and there was like the checkerboard of the yard and the squares and the guy standing in the middle of the square. Like, that was really cool.
It was a good shot, yeah.
And it was, but it lasted a second, and then it just goes back down to the ground. I go, well, why wouldn't you linger on that? Like, Carpenter would absolutely linger on that shot. Do you know what I mean? Like 2-3 minutes, you'd have a whole bit of just them walking slowly across that checkerboard. I'm like, let's enjoy that. It was like, yeah, that's a nice shot, so we'll do that for a second. But I'm not just. I mean, it was so phenomenally empty.
Yeah.
It wasn't saying anything.
No.
It was just stealing set pieces wholesale from other Halloween. The bit in the bathroom was H2O, right?
Yeah.
When she goes into the bathroom, that was stolen from H2O.
Yeah.
The bit with the flappy laundry in the background, that's from the original Halloween, right? Every single set piece was stolen from another movie.
Yeah.
There was nothing original about it.
While we're talking about the beginning, no, just because I want to kind of go through it chronologically and not.
That's fine. Yes,
while I have thoughts,
I could just keep moaning.
No, it's fine, and I also don't want to do that. I want to kind of, as someone who like knows the franchise a bit, I want to kind of
I'd be interested to hear.
talk about it a bit. So, the weirdest decision for me was, if you're going to ignore all the other films and you're just going to go Halloween and then this is 40 years later, right? You don't need to spend the first 25 minutes of your movie setting up who Michael Myers is, Dr. Loomis is, Laurie Strode is, the mental is, all of that. Like the two journalists, the podcasters going around, right? And like trying to figure out Michael and trying to like interview Laurie Strode and whatever. That was all an exposition device. A horribly, horribly clunky and badly cast exposition device. And I mean, unless they honestly thought, but because this is my point.
Right.
If that was done for a new person coming in, right, who's never seen any of the Halloween films, then why would it fucking matter to the person that it was 40 years later? Like, it wouldn't, right? So the reason to do a recap of all that stuff is for the newcomer. But then if you're a newcomer to the franchise and you literally have no knowledge of anything that's happened before, even the original movie, or even that this is a sequel to anything, if you just think this is a one-off standalone movie, then all the stuff about Laurie and it being 40 years later and who Michael is and the mask, none of that means anything. It only means something if you know about the original movie. So if you know something about the original movie, I don't need 20 minutes of like exposition with two English, why are they English podcasters going around the mental institution and Laurie Strode's house and all the rest of it. Like, just cut to the chase. He's in a mental institution. He's going to be moved to another one. He's clearly going to escape, and Laurie Strode is some kind of survivalist living out into the woods. Boom. First 3 scenes. Done. Next. On to the bit that we're all here for. I don't need 20 minutes at the beginning of the movie telling me ponderous details I already know. And certainly do not like try and put some massive emphasis on the mask. The mask was purely a function of like you say, him covering up his face, disguising who he was, as he went about and did the killing in the original. It was also a handy tool for Carpenter because Carpenter wanted to make it that when he comes out as an adult in the original and goes after Laurie, he's doing it as the Shape and no longer Michael Myers. He's not doing it as a human, as a thing. He's doing it as a personification of evil. And the only way he felt he could represent that was by putting on like this white, emotionless, featureless face on the killer, so that you're projecting whatever you feel evil is onto that face, rather than making it like, oh, it's all cracked and evil and blah, 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 like the eyes have been made to look evil and the mouth. Like, that's completely missing the entire point. Now, okay, you can also argue that Halloween 4, 5, and 6 make the same mistake because Michael, every single film has the same mask, and maybe it was a mistake with the fourth one, he should have had a different mask and so on. But the way this one sells the mask is that it's the original mask, because 2 through 7 hasn't happened. So it's the original mask, and the mask itself has some sort of importance, which is not the case at all. And like I say, it would have almost been a better film and had a better understanding of, if you want to modernize something, if you want to talk about, like, I don't know, the nature of evil, or the nature of serial killers, or the nature of survival, or the nature of victimhood, or whatever it is, then the mask is irrelevant. Like, have him put on any mask. It doesn't have to be the Michael Myers mask. Have him put on any mask. But what you're saying is, in the opening scene with the journalist confronting him in the thing, is like, we know this mask is iconic. Look how iconic this mask is. Like, it's a marketing device at that point. And all you've done is you've gone, he has to wear the mask, so let's have the journalist show up with it.
I think that what's interesting about that is, so I think what's going on, exactly what you're saying about the mask and not understanding it. And the whole reason why, it's not that that it bored me, although it was boring.
It was very boring.
I actively hated it because it makes it's why fanboys shouldn't make films. Like, strange, troubled men should make horror films. Do you know what I mean? Like Cronenberg, Romero, like they're odd people, right? I'm just saying.
I don't think they are, you see, but okay.
Oh well, I think
actually they all have a good sense of humor. They all have their wits about them. They're all very intelligent.
I get that, but I'm just saying.
I don't think they're weird, creepy.
No. I don't. I just mean. Okay, maybe no more than like any normal person is. I know they're like, in a sense, they can talk.
No, they're intelligent. They're good about. They know what's scary. They know what.
No, I'm not.
From a psychological standpoint.
No. But I disagree with that. I don't think that's. I think they have instincts as filmmakers as to what is scary and what works. But I don't think it's like, I'm going to do this is going to be like a psychological slam dunk if I do this. I think it's that they are. No. But wait. I'm just saying. Why about Carpenter and Cronenberg and Romero and Stephen King and people, they're all like, they're intelligent. But if you go, hey, write something that scares me, and then they'll write something, and it will be, Jesus, and you'll be like shaken, and you won't really understand. The whole point about Halloween is it's scary, but you don't really know. I'm not saying like it's scary that a guy's wandering around with it, but it's just a guy in a boiler suit and a William Shatner mask and a knife. There's no reason why, if you wrote that down, that should be scary. But he's like looked at himself, he's asked himself what's frightening, what frightens me, and he's honest and intelligent enough to come up with something that doesn't need an explanation. Like Stephen King doesn't know half of what he wrote. He was pissed out of his mind most of the time he wrote. The scariest stuff he wrote, he was barely on planet Earth when he was doing it. He was pissed. And they're all just reaching into themselves and saying, what scares me? And they're trying to put that honestly on the screen, right?
Right.
So what
I think that comes from a place of intelligence and
I
creativity.
agree. I'm not arguing with that. I'm just saying they've looked within themselves, right, honestly and intelligently, and they brought something up that they maybe can't even explain why it's scary. They just know that it is. It's honest to them. It's real, right?
Most of them actually, and I don't want to harp on this point, but I've watched a lot of interviews with all the people you're talking about.
Right.
Most of them can explain exactly why it's scary and why they thought it would work.
I know that
they don't think it's a slam dunk. They don't think, oh, this is. But they what I mean is, there's a method in their madness.
No, I know. I guess what I'm saying is that they can talk about. Well, of course, Michael Myers' personification of evil, and like anybody can come up with an idea and come up with a reason why. But why that thing?
You say anyone can, but
no.
Modern filmmakers do.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm saying anyone can come up with something and explain afterwards why that thing has like meaning, which they do. Whoever makes the crappy horror films, I'm sure they all talk about why the thing they made is like, oh, well, it means this and it means that. You know what I mean? What I'm saying is, Cronenberg does. I'm just saying, right? Cronenberg and Carpenter, they don't sit down and go, what is the personification of evil? And then come up with a guy in a boiler suit and a William Shatner mask. It's instinctive, right? And I bet you he saw some guy with a boiler suit, or he saw the mask or something, and maybe there was like a process to it. But I'm saying it comes from a place that's not completely known or understood by them. They can explain it afterwards, and they can try and impart. Yeah, it's great. Thank you very much. They can try and impart its meaning and what they were trying to get across. But there are gaps in their understanding. Anyway, my point is...
we'll take that as read, but...
There's a difference between people who do that and people who watch that and think that's cool, right?
Right.
And if the people who made Halloween 2018 watched Halloween and went, Halloween is cool. Sorry. Right? Michael Myers is cool. And it's a film, what we watched, in which Michael Myers is cool. He gets the mask because the mask is cool. And there's even a slow motion bit of him taking the mask out of the boot and putting the mask on slowly. And everything he does is so cool. And Carpenter doesn't think Michael Myers is cool, man.
Right.
Michael Myers scares the shit out of Carpenter.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm saying. It's that they've tapped into something, King and Cronenberg and Carpenter and Romero and all of them. They've tapped into what scares them. The people who made this movie haven't tapped into what scares them. No. They've tapped into what is cool about Halloween, or what they think is cool about Halloween. Like, what the fuck was that sandwich conversation? That's my point. Like,
no, wait. You just get way ahead. But yeah, the sandwich conversation was... So the whole 20 minutes, the first 20 minutes of the movie, before it even gets going, before he even starts stalking the streets, I've watched a lot of very bad, low-budget horror movies. We even watched that Fatal Games thing, which I'm sure I've mentioned a bunch, but like...
The Olympic
one
that's all built around javelins and nobody gets killed with a javelin.
Until the end. But the biggest sin of Halloween 2018, certainly the first half of it, is that it's boring.
It's fucking dumb.
Now, we could break it down, and we talked a bit about like why and da. But ultimately, it's just boring. It's boring, and all through that first like 25 minutes or whatever, that felt like an hour, I was shifting in my seat, very uncomfortable, very bored, very like, oh, make it stop and make something happen. And then once it got into like the Halloween night and the kill started and I'm at least along for the ride at that point. But then there were a couple of bits where, out of nowhere, considering the place to put humor in a Halloween movie, is either in the characters, like Loomis has some great like humorous moments, like he can't even drive. Well, maybe someone around here gave him lessons. Like, it's not a joke, but it like there's a human aspect to it that makes you chuckle, especially the way like Pleasance delivers it. Or the bit where the little kids are going up to the Myers house and Pleasance like with a little playful grin, it's like, Lonnie, move your ass. Like that bit is like there's a little laughter to it. But there's no like out and out like, oh, and now we're going to cut to a comedy sketch. And in this movie, it cuts to two policemen in the car, who, by the way, we haven't met. We don't know anything about them. We don't know who they are. And they're having a conversation, which is, it's not even like subpar Tarantino. It's like a child listened to the like a Virgin sketch from the beginning of Reservoir Dogs and was like, I'm going to do that. The Royale with cheese from Pulp Fiction. And went, yeah, I'm going to do that, but with like banh mi sandwiches because I had one for lunch and I'm just going to put it in the script. And it was at that point, having sat through the first 35 minutes, when that sequence with the two policemen in the car, I don't think I've ever done this in a cinema. I actually put my head in my hands and went, "Oh God, make it stop!" And it wasn't for effect. Like they were talking about this fucking banh mi sandwich, and I was just like, at that point, I could have walked out.
But that's the thing. Like, there's none of it comes from. None of it comes from the heart. None of it comes from the gut. It's just like two stoners, like replicating, you know, a horror film that they think is really, really cool. And they understand that in horror films you have bits where like minor characters have like weirdly involved conversations about something minor before they get killed, right? I know that's a thing that happens, and I really like those bits of movies, so I'll stick one of those in there. But it's just like, there's not even the honesty of trying to make money, as in even like cash grab sequels, right? And you know you're watching something because, like, well, people want to watch Michael Myers movies, so let's just make a Michael Myers movie. So here's the bit where the woman gets chased through the woods. Here's the bit where the comedy sheriff, you know, has a conversation about sandwiches. And you're aware that you're just being like, you know, you've paid your money and they're giving you what you paid for. And there's a certain honesty in that, even if it's a bit, you know, not lazy. But there's honesty in like, well, let's give them what they paid for, let's put on a show.
Well, also,
whereas this is like people looking at those movies, right, and thinking that's cool, and then like it's even one removed from just cash grab nonsense.
Right.
It's so chronically empty. I mean, there's something in there that they sort of hint at with like, well, what's the? Can I ask? Okay, so this is my question. And after I've asked it, I will shut up. Not like forever, but just I get it. Like, what's the purpose? Why is Michael Myers scary in 2018? Right, because it's different than 1978, right? He was scary in 1978 because, you know, youth, promiscuity, like the horrors of, you know, life and men, you know, and how fucking grim it was to be young in the 70s, right? Like, hey, you know, you're having fun now, smoking fags and drinking beer and having sex, but in about 2 years, your life is going to end. You know, you're going to be in a dead-end job and you'll be miserable and it'll be, you know, like life is fucking coming. There's a whole lot of things you can talk about, but it means something. What does it mean in 2018? I mean, it's not as if there's not material to work with, you know, like violent men getting what they want and expecting like no consequences, and women having to put up with, you know, this kind of behaviour, and a world in which there is, you know, the world seemingly is divided into good and evil, you know, and what are we going to do about it, and how are we going to defend us? There's something you can hang it on. It doesn't need to be a lot, but like fucking something. Hang it on something.
Okay.
So why are we doing it?
That dovetails into a little bit of what I was going to say later, which is, and I'm glad I waited till I saw the movie, till I vocalized this. In the lead up to the movie coming out, and since the movie's come out, and this is all, to be honest, through interviews with Jamie Lee Curtis, Jamie Lee Curtis's Instagram, Jamie Lee Curtis's Twitter. It's mostly from Jamie Lee Curtis,
who was good and was not in it nearly enough.
Right, but like I've said, Entertainment Weekly and various other places have been more than happy to. Curtis, whether she decided herself or whether someone said like, oh, this should be the storyline behind Michael Myers and behind why we're doing Halloween 2018, was this whole idea of the story of the victim, and what does it mean to be a victim, and what do people do about that, especially women and the Me Too movement and da-da-da-da-da. And the shame of that, so when she first started to do that, the thing that went through my mind was this, and it's a much deeper, maybe a longer conversation than we have time for now, but it was this. On one hand, there was a part of me where I was like, oh, it's a shame, like Black Lives Matter and like other movements, that the Me Too movement now seems like it's ended its for sale. what's the word?
Period.
Whatever. For sale, meaning at a certain point, because everything these days is marketing. Everything is, and not just for movies, but everything is marketing. Everything is tainted. It's literally, we were talking about Bill Hicks earlier. It's literally the sketch he does where he's like, I'm caught in a web. It doesn't matter what I say. It doesn't matter what I do. Everything is marketing. We're actually living that right now. Right down to, like I say, Black Lives Matter has been up for grabs. Me Too movement is up for grabs. You know, people are making money left, right, and center off the back of Trump. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, everything is for sale. I really wanted, watching the movie, for that to be paid off. Because while Jamie Lee Curtis was going on about it, I was in conflict. And again, middle-class heterosexual white guy, nobody gives a shit what I think, and they shouldn't, and that's fine. I'm really not
well,
saying...
I do.
No, but I'm really not claiming any authority on this. But on one hand, I was like put off that a movement that I'm actually very supportive of was being used to sell this slasher movie, especially this slasher reboot, remake, rehash, cash grab, 40-year, whatever you want to call it. Then the reverse happened in my head, because I was like, well, I've always been pro-genre films, often because they provided either African Americans or women or even gay characters and transgender characters and various other different types of characters platforms to be heroes or to be anti-heroes or to at least be participants, you know what I mean? Now, sure, people can joke about like the black guy always gets killed first in slasher films, and they can, you know, be turned off by the exploitative elements of sex and nudity and whatever in those films that women have to undertake. But ultimately, in most of the leading slasher films or even horror films in general, outside of, interestingly, The Thing, most of the time there is a strong female protagonist, and even if she has to go through exploitative elements to become that strong female protagonist, the contract you enter into in a genre film is, I'm going to get all my, you know, sick and depraved side catered to with my, you know, blood and guts and tits and ass and whatever. But I'm also, because it's a genre film and because it's a B movie and because people are going to write it off, we're going to be able to slip in the odd bit of social messaging or whatever without it being like I'm clubbing you over the head with it. You can take it from the movies or not. And I chose very often with genre films to champion the fact that those characters in there. And every time I would hear like Hollywood be like, yeah, we've done a female-driven action movie, I'm like, where have you been for the last 40 years? Because there's a shit ton of female-driven action movies. Where have you, like when they were talking about like, oh, this Halloween 2018 is a movie where finally the final girl gets to be empowered and da-da-da-da. And I'm like, actually, for about 40 years, the final girl has been empowered. In fact, you know, so you can go back even before that. So a lot of my praise and support of genre film has been tied into something that's inherently socio-political without wanting to sound wanky or pretentious, but there is that element in it. So then I was like, well, is it perfectly justified then to use a socio-political movement like Me Too to sell a genre film if I've always been more or less making that statement myself, not necessarily to sell them, but to at least encourage people to watch them.
To understand, yeah, I'm done, thank you very much.
I'm still eating, but thank you. So I was knotted up in that, and I still haven't really come to a conclusion. Like,
I don't think you need to. I don't think the film made you.
No, but that's my point. So to tie it back to what you were saying, so that was a conundrum I was in when I hadn't seen the film. So if I went in with any expectation of this movie outside of me being a fan of the Halloween franchise and wanting like a decent 15 minutes of like stalk and slash or Laurie Strode being heroic or whatever, or even a fucking character arc, what I wanted to get was that sense of empowerment, because all Jamie Lee Curtis has been posting about was like, she posted the 3 women who play her, Judy Greer, and whoever the younger woman was. I'm sorry, I don't remember her name. And that she was like 3 generations of strong Strode women was like the post on Instagram, and various other posts like that. And recently she was like, it's the highest October opening for a female-driven movie, especially a female over 50 movie, etc., etc. There was a lot of talk about that in the lead up to it. So I was like, well, let me at least get that from the movie. Let me at least see what it was in the script that made Jamie Lee Curtis, who, by the way, had already come back and done H2O, so she'd already done her Laurie kicks Michael's ass movie. She'd already done her character arc of empowerment and overcoming adversity and all that kind of stuff. She'd done that movie 20 years ago. She'd even then come back and let herself be killed in Halloween 8. Presume they needed an extension to the house or something, I don't know, but whatever. So I was like, let me see something in this that makes me understand not only signing on the line to do this movie 20 years later when you've already told this story, to all effect, but also that prompted this endless stream of Instagrams and tweets and stuff like that, which I found very cool and empowering. I'm like, great, show me. It is not in the movie. I mean, apart from the fact that yes, it's 3 generations of women, and you're watching, like, if that's enough, like if them occasionally fighting Michael is enough for people to go hurrah for women, then I'm sorry, you haven't seen 40. I come back to that thing. I'm like, you need to go watch some films. Like, you just need to go away and watch some films, because if this is what feminist movie making is in 2018, then it's in a really dire state. Now, is Jamie Lee Curtis a woman over 50 who's leading a movie? Yes. Should there be way more of them? Fuck yes. If this leads to more of them, hallelujah. But none of this empowerment, Me Too positivity, or any of this stuff is in this movie.
So can I jump in?
Is it, or unless
no?
Again, middle class heterosexual white guy.
No. You're right.
Well, controversial. I'm sure everyone has either switched off, is screaming at the podcast, or maybe they've taken a big deep breath. They've thought about what I'm trying to say, and just maybe they understand. Who knows? I don't know. That is the wonderful thing about podcasts, is that all opinions can be voiced. But it is a shame if I let you down. It's a shame that I let you down. That's this song from MO75. You see what I'm doing? I'm weaving in the names of the songs and the podcast. I don't know. It's a shame that I let you down. MO75 Vol.1 by the Big Heist. Listen to it. MO75 Vol.1 by the Big Heist. I completely have not mentioned Volume 1 this whole fucking episode. Volume 2 and Volume 3 are coming out in November and December, I believe. But Volume 1, MO75, The Big Heist. Check it out on Spotify, or buy it on iTunes, or wherever music is found. But don't forget, it's a shame that I let you down. Enjoy the song. Maybe when we come back, Jim will pick us right back up, or maybe not. Who knows? Keep listening.
It's a shame that I let you down. We had a good run, but now we're done. Seems like you had a time, but it's not as if I can read your mind. With each second, the truth gets harder to find, and it's a shame that I let you down. Sugar iced tea, girl, you're feisty. I don't regret my decision, except when I hear all your revisions. Oh my, this is one deep division. Stepped on the acceleration and all over my reputation. You'd be pleased by what I'm facing with every girl I'm chasing. more she considers coming to my place. And meanwhile, you seem so complacent with your beau who stands adjacent. And I wonder, how good could you be doing if you're so focused? It's my ruin. I'll try it again if that's what you're wanting. You've already poisoned all my other options. And it's a shame that I let you down. We had a good run, we had a lot of fun. Seems like you had a time, but it's not like I can.
And here's the other thing, right? And this is what annoyed me, and it kind of ties into what you're saying. What the fuck was it building to? Because there was a moment where I thought, are they going to pull this out of the bag? I mean, this is right at the end.
Right.
And I thought, if they're going to do a bit where they basically lure Michael to this house, and then Jamie Lee Curtis becomes Michael, and Michael becomes when Jamie Lee Curtis becomes Michael, and Michael becomes Jamie Lee Curtis, and he's like trapped in a house, and she's hunting him, and the other thing is, right, it's not like Mike, because this is what I was going. If this is what they're going to do, this would completely work, because she can kill him over and over again, because obviously he can't die. So instead of Michael going around the house or whatever, killing 9 people, she can kill him 9 times. She can hunt him down just like he hunts women down, right? In this trap that she's laid, and there could be hidden knives everywhere, and special traps and all the shit that you need, because she's had 40 years to prepare this trap.
Right.
And then you could have had a half-hour set piece of her hunting him, and she can be successful every time and stab him and then run away, and then he has to, he gets a little bit more fucked up every time, whatever. But you could totally go to town on that. You can have all the thrills of your slasher, right? Of your knife going in and your gruesome kills and all the rest of it. And then every time he gets back up, because the one thing that Myers does is he always gets back up. And the bit where she falls off the roof and he looks back, and that's another,
that's from the end of Halloween 1.
Right, at the end of Halloween 1. And then she's gone. And I thought, if this has all been building up to an extended set piece of Laurie as Michael and Michael as Laurie, that would be very cool. And then it was nothing. It was nothing. They hit him with a frying pan. There's a bit where she's going around the room, because there's a whole thing where it's she clears a room and then puts the gate down, and then she does that all the way through the house, going, okay, I guess that's kind of cool. And then she gets to another room, which, as you rightly point out, just turn the light on, and it's a room full of mannequins. Yeah, that's a good plan. If you're going to build a house, right, where you're worried that Michael's going to get in, don't fill a room with no light bulbs, and lots of mannequins, right?
Where's the benefit?
Right, it's only going to lead to you wandering around there in the dark, worried about where Michael is.
I mean, this was the other thing.
Okay, but
if you've waited 40 years and you know he's outside, why stand against the door? Stand back from the door.
I know. I'll go one more, mate. If you've built a house specifically to defend yourself against Michael Myers, then don't put fucking glass in the front door. If you punch, you can lean in and take out your metal bar.
Right.
What the fuck?
Also, don't put the floodlights out on the garden till 20 minutes in. Put them on all the time.
Yeah.
Then she's got all these monitors set up. Never once checks any of them. She's got 4 monitors or whatever in the background. Never once is there even a scene
also,
where she's
how is it if it's a trap? It's not a room. It's a trap.
It's not a cage. It's a trap.
It's a trap. So let me just. So your plan is hide in a place with only one exit.
Yeah.
Wait for him to discover the exit.
Yeah.
Rip off the front, and then get past him up the stairs.
Yeah.
And then, even though he's ripped the top of the trap off, hope you have enough time to set the fire or to pull the lever. That's your. You've had 40 years. That's your plan.
Right.
Because there's a bit in there where you have to get past Michael Myers on the stairway,
right,
where I feel like it's a bit dodgy.
Right. Also, in Halloween H2O, she takes an axe to him, right? The guns are all very well, but if you want to actually destroy him, surely bodily dismemberment should be your goal, because the only thing we haven't done in a Halloween movie, apart from Halloween H2O, is remove his limbs and his head.
But even assuming that you, look, I'm with you,
Get a chainsaw. Get a massive axe. Get a sword. Get anything other than a pistol and a wing and a prayer.
Also, I don't know about you, but all the time she's wandering around the house with the gun. So I've seen movies. I know that the amount of time it takes you to swing the gun around to whoever's running up behind you, they've knocked the gun away and they've got you up against the wall and they're strangling you.
Right.
Like, that's not... This is not a plan.
Oh.
This is not a... And more importantly than that, I know how this is going to end. This is what I mean about, like, stoners making facsimiles of films they think are cool. They don't get that you need, like, the character picks up a shotgun because that's all there is, you know, and they're, like, frightened and they're, like, hunting or whatever. But if someone was hunting, like, they wouldn't do it like that. There's no, like, it's sort of bits and it's what happens. The whole film is what happens when you take a bit from one film and a bit from another film and a motivation from here and a character arc from there, and you just go, well, because it's all from Halloween films and we're just paying homage, it'll all work, it'll all be fine. But it's just built on nothing.
Well, it's also
there's no here's my final thing. There's no reason in the hearts and the minds of the people that made this film. There's no reason for this film to exist except that they think the Halloween is cool. That's it.
No, but I've heard people give similar sentiments, and I would agree predominantly. I think that to look more at the writing of it, like I said, the recap is redundant because you're already
and annoying.
You're already making it. You've already
redundant is bad, but annoying, and redundant.
boring, and redundant.
It's like a hell of a way to begin.
But you've also got well, first of all, like even Carpenter knows that he has to have the pre-credit scare, right? Then you meet Laurie. And during meeting Laurie, there are like little scares. Michael's behind a bush. Michael's whatever.
A cat jumps out.
Whatever. Right. So that by the time it gets to evening, you've got the slasher killer going around doing the slashing, and you've got Pleasance and the sheriff doing the we're nervous older guys, but we know we've got to kind of step up and fix this as and when he shows up. And meanwhile, we'll throw Pleasance a whole bunch of amazingly cool lines he can say.
Yeah, and then you've got someone. You need someone in the movie going, but I'm telling you, he's trouble. People go, shut up, old man. You know,
right?
Like that's the thing.
Well,
when it's like,
but by negating the rest, I would argue, by negating the rest of the Halloween franchise, by getting rid of the second one, where she's terrorized in the hospital and she escapes, and at the end Pleasance blows up himself and Michael, even though he comes back later on in the franchise, but he's badly scarred, but whatever. And by negating the Jamie Lloyd story, and by kind of, it means that you're telling me that for 40 years Laurie Strode's been a victim, and that in this one night there's going to be a change of heart, there's going to be an uprising, whatever. And the weird thing about it is there really wasn't, like, she was still, and I get, maybe this is what they're trying to say about victimhood or whatever, but like, and I get it, she was still afraid at the end of the movie to face her past and face her whatever and so on and so forth. And I'm sure this stuff can destroy someone for 40 years, but it doesn't. There wasn't enough of. If you're going to do 20 minutes at the beginning of the movie that's exposition, give me the 20 minutes of Laurie Strode. Don't give me 20 minutes of two fucking journalists wandering around talking about shit I already know. I don't. Nobody needs that. Literally nobody needs that. And if you're trying to sell it to a new crowd, just be like, this guy's the bad guy. He's in an insane asylum. This is the woman he tortured 40 years ago by killing all her friends. Meet this woman. Meet her family. Meet her friends. But literally, Laurie's backstory in this is 3 lines of dialogue. It's when the journalist comes up and goes, you lost custody of your daughter and you've had 2 failed marriages. That's literally the extent of the backstory we get for Laurie. And then in the Judy Greer, her daughter, tells her granddaughter, Like, this was my upbringing. I learned how to shoot a gun when I was like 8, right? This is the extent of that. There is no, like, if you want to tell Laurie Strode's story and you want to explain to me why, like, a victim is a victim for 40 years and why there would still be fear and why like, show me some of that. Tell me some of that. And don't just have, like, her sitting in a car knocking back a small bottle of Jack Daniels and then going into a dinner and being all weird. Like, it would... I know that's what you think would be a reaction or what you think is, like, depth. But, I don't know, maybe I missed the point. Yeah.
No.
But to me, like, again, show me it's just like, the Laurie
it's another
story.
Scene. It's another scene. That thing of her in the car drinking the little... They've stolen that from somewhere else as well. I don't know where they stole it from.
Halloween H2O.
But it's all...
But do you know how they do it in Halloween H2O? In Halloween H2O, there's never a bit where she's like, I'm an alcoholic, and she's like drinking or whatever. But in Halloween H2O, she sat down with her... She's the principal of a high school, like a private school up in the mountains. Heavily, high doors, high gates, heavily secured. She goes out for lunch with her professor boy. One of the professors in the high school is like her boyfriend. She's never really told him any of her past, and she's under an assumed name, and she's not Laurie Strode right now, and They go sit down, and they're having a dinner, they're having a lunchtime chat, and away from the school, and and he goes off to the bathroom. And in the time that he goes off to the bathroom, she downs a whole glass of white wine. Well, like, wipes her lips and goes, "Could you refill me, please?" Like, quickly, so that it looks like she's not really, like, drinking all the time. Like, that's...
You're right, there's more character work in that 5-second scene of a not particularly well-loved Miramax cash grab sequel than they managed in the whole movie. Because it's supposed to be all about her.
Right.
No one said, Halloween H2O, at last, Laurie Strode gets the power. Like, no one sold it like that. It was all like, hey, that Josh Hartnett kid that was in that film you liked, we've got him in, and basically, now that horror films are cool again, we've made one.
Yeah.
But they still had more, because the people in it, even though they were just like out to make a buck for Miramax at the time, still had enough heart and soul to try and, as you rightly say, like, sneak something in there that's kind of cool. But everything in this movie, every single part of it was stolen from somewhere else, but not in a, like, well, I've got a story I want to tell, and I'm going to take bits from other places in order to tell that story, because that's legitimate. You know, it's perfectly legitimate to go, I want to tell this story, and the best way for me to tell it is to use a bit from here and a bit from there, because I know what I've got the vision. But there's no vision. There's no, like, I need to tell this story. It's, I'm going to I'm going to roll the camera and try and fit as much stuff as I think is cool into an hour-and-a-half movie. And how is that? It was like an hour and a half, right?
Hour and 45 minutes.
So
long.
Hour
and 45 minutes.
So long.
But the message also was weird, because it was like... It was like, well, what we're going to say is victimhood is someone who becomes like a survivalist nutcase hermit living in the woods. And I'm sorry, if I was a woman who had undergone some trauma, whether it was fatherly abuse or a husband or whatever, like all the Me Too stuff, they walk around proudly every day and run incredibly impressive lives and make differences and have careers and have families and have whatever. They don't live up in a mountain for 40 years, like, whatever. And
yeah, that's the thing, isn't it?
So what I'm saying, so if you're trying to tell me, well, it's the story of victimhood and it's trying to explain this, it's trying to explain that, it's like, well, actually, it's insulting to victims is what it is. It's not particularly deep or explanatory of victimhood.
No, if anything, it's like, it's flattering, it's one of those times when there's a character in a movie going, but, you know, when the character goes, look, there's nice things in the world, and I don't want to live a life where I'm constantly paranoid and afraid and living in the woods and miserable and alone and cold and frightened that a boogeyman's going to take a knife to me. Because...
Well, that was said in the movie.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But but the movie was like negating that. Was like that was a naive point of view. It's like, but it's like what they're saying is, it was worthwhile, Jamie Lee Curtis pissing away 40 years of her life, you know, psychologically scarring her daughter, because for one night they had like a rubbish plan.
No, right. I'm so glad you put it that way.
It could just as easily have gone,
listen,
listen, by the way, if a bloke in a boiler suit, a William Shatner mask and a knife turns up, stand at the bottom of these stairs, pick up a gun and shoot him. Now let's go and have an ice cream. Like, that would have been the end of it.
Or, if we know he's going to come through the door, let's have a chainsaw rigged up, so I pull a little thing and a chainsaw comes swinging down and chops his head.
No, I like that idea, man. By the way, should we cover up the glass in the door so we can't punch through it and just open the door?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, good idea. Great. What if they don't move him on Halloween? That would be an idea, right?
Yeah.
Hey, it's been 40 years, we're finally moving to another facility.
Okay, guys.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. But, you know, let's just put him in a low security bus with other prisoners.
Yeah.
But for God's sake, make sure you pair him with the doctor, who for absolutely no reason at all
He's going to go crazy.
is going to go crazy and bust him out. Because they know that there are films, right, where a character you least expect to be helping out the guy,
Right.
has an unhealthy attachment to him, ends up over. Yeah, but that doesn't make any sense. With like, have Loomis or don't have Loomis.
Right.
If you don't have Loomis, have a guy who is like impressionable, but not a, like, he's supposed to be Loomis. He sounds like Loomis. He's a bit older and wizened. I was going, okay, fine, I get it, but don't have that guy.
Well, also,
be the one who's like helping out Michael.
This is the other thing, right? So let's quickly go through it. There's the line by the kids where they go, I thought he was meant to be like the brother of the killers. And she's like, no, that was just like some dumb, like totally dumb rumor, like totally not true. I'm like, all right, listen, I get it. John Carpenter said that at 3 a.m. when he was writing Halloween 2, he had to come up with something, and he made him Laurie Strode's brother, right? But actually, when you consider the fact that there's like 7 films in the main franchise and then like 8 in this one and 2 remakes, having him have some like attachment to Laurie Strode actually continued that franchise. If you take that away and he's just like some nut who just has like a weird fixation with the Laurie Strode or whatever.
Yeah, that's the thing, isn't it? Because actually it has its cake and eats it too. Because it's saying, oh yeah, I mean, when Michael gets out, he's coming right for Laurie Strode. Right, but why? Well, she's the one that got away. But lots of people got away.
Right.
Like, lots of people didn't die in Halloween.
Yeah.
Right? Unless there's...
Well, not the main cast that we see, but yes, lots of other people.
No. But I mean, in the original movie, 1978, lots of people do not die.
Right.
There's lots of times Michael Myers like nearly kills somebody, or is hiding, and they, you know, something changes or whatever. It's not like every time Michael goes, I'm going to kill that person, they die. Like,
but then also, so this is the other thing, right? Is that it then gets all messed up because of this whole like, let's get rid of everything. This was the other point I wanted to make. It then gets all messed up trying to show Michael is just a mindless killer as opposed to like out for Laurie Strode, but at the same time going, oh, he's going to end up Laurie Strode. Like, so there was a sequence, and I kind of tried to find the sequence cool, or not cool because he was killing people, but like cool in a, oh, this is showing me something or saying something. There is a sequence where, without any emotion, without any method, without anything, Michael goes in and out of houses and just kills a bunch of nobodies, right, in various ways. Sticks a knife through them, hits them with a hammer, whatever it is. He goes through and he just very plainly kills people. There's no big drama about it. There's no... In fact, those bodies are not even discovered in the span of the movie. And it wasn't all in one shot, but it was certainly like all in one kind of like style and all in one kind of part of the film. And for me, I'm like, I get it, it's your way of saying, oh, he's not Laurie Strode's brother, he's not trying to go after family members, he's not trying to do blah, 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 blah. He's just a serial killer, and maybe he'll get to Laurie because he'll recognize her because she was around 40 years ago, but really it's not. Then, like you say, the third act of the movie is entirely about his one dogged pursuit of Laurie and her family. And even the trigger word in the back of the police car is Judith Myers, his sister from the first one. So wait a minute, you're saying his sister... that is important to him? Like, all of a sudden you're going to go, oh, it's so stupid that he would be someone's brother, but then you're going to make the sister the trigger word? Like none of it made any sense. So, but anyway, you have the line about that, which is a reference to Halloween 2. You had the kids in the pumpkin mask, the witch mask, and the skeleton mask, which is from Halloween 3, which is in even a Michael Myers film. You had the 3 kids skipping along wearing those masks, and I'm like, that isn't even from it, but okay, fine, reference that, weird. Then you had the guy dressed up in the like horny devil outfit. That is sort of a reference to part 5, where one of the key female characters dresses up like that. The weirdest thing is that they had no nods to Jamie Lloyd at all. Like there was no reference to her clown outfit, because in Halloween 4 and 5 she wears like a clown outfit that is reference to the clown outfit Michael wore when he was. There was none of that, and I was looking for it. But then the worst, outside of the banh mi sandwich scene, which can go down in history as one of the worst scenes ever written by anyone. I've seen plays written by 6-year-old children that have more insight into human nature than that one conversation about
it was sort of brief, like being catapulted back to the 90s, where every film had to have like a conversation about savages.
Okay, but even in H2O, which has the most annoying through line in H2O, is that the security guard, played by LL Cool J, believe it or not, is a struggling novel writer who's always on the phone to his girlfriend, and he's always like reading out passages from the book that he's struggling to write, and she's always like laughing at him and whatever, and he's like, but listen baby, I'm trying to, like, this is what I'm trying to say, and it's meant to be romantic. Like there's this through line where he's always like trying to write stuff, right? And it's irritating the way he plays it is annoying and cliche and whatever, but it's throughout the movie. There's like a 1 scene, 2 scene, 3 scene, and then he's killed. Like it's a thing, like it's throughout the movie. If we'd seen Mutt and Jeff, these 2 policemen, at the beginning of the movie, like squabbling over a sandwich, and then in the middle of the movie, like one of them had mustard on his shirt, and he's like, oh, that must have been from the sandwich. And then in the 3rd scene before they died, they were talking about a sandwich. That at least would have been something to justify the sandwich, but there was no justification. But the other worst line in the movie was Jamie Lee Curtis going up to the new doctor with the mustache and go, oh, I guess you're the new Loomis. And she might as well have turned to the screen and gone, "Ba-da-da." Like, I mean, it was like, it was just intolerable. It was just intolerable, and I'm really disappointed. And I could go, look, anyone who enjoyed this film, please take me to task, ask me questions. I will be very explanatory and open about it. I could probably sit here and talk about it for another half an hour. You can accuse me of going in with the wrong attitude. You can accuse me of being too purist. You can accuse me of being old and bitter and all the rest of it. But I'm sorry. As Bill Hicks once said, to bring it back to Bill Hicks, take a step back, take a deep breath. It's a piece of shit, and move on. Like the endless justification for these films, and the fact that these movie makers get away with flat out like subpar illiterate bilge, and we all have to wave a flag for it because it was the first movie with a woman over 50 to make $78 million in October. I'm sorry, make a better movie with a woman over 50, and I'll praise it till I'm blue in the face.
Well, I would say I came into it with no preciousness about the franchise. I recognised a couple of sequences, but I'm sure I didn't spoil the Easter eggs or whatever that you did. But I hated it. I hated it because it was boring, because it was pointless, because it was choppy. It had no sense of mood or style. It didn't have anything to it at all. There was no heart, no soul. It was empty garbage. I haven't seen a film that I disliked in the cinema that much since Atomic Blonde.
Break the check because we're going to close.
Oh, okay, fair enough.
I thought it closed at 11. Is it that late?
Nearly.
Oh wow, yeah, we've been talking to...
Fair enough. Anyway, I'm so glad I went to see it with you.
No, I'm super glad to go and see it, and if I wanted to kind of pay it some lip service, it was satisfactorily
I guess
shot
we go up, right?
and well lit. You know what I mean?
Like, let's go up.
it was satisfactorily shot. It was well lit. It was watchable. But
I didn't think it was anything.
And Jamie Lee Curtis was good in it, but
She wasn't given anything to do. She was given no character.
and Judy Greer, man, she is such a good actress, and she keeps getting put in like fifth fiddle roles in like Ant-Man and Halloween. It's just so depressing. Yeah. She's such a great actress. She's done some really good work on TV as well.
Well, thanks for having me, man. I'm glad we went to see it. I'm glad we became a member of the Thingamajig, and they did have like lean back seats. And it is fun every now and then.
We'll head outside because I want to say one more thing. Okay. All right, so we're now outside the diner because we were weirdly like shooed out of there, even though whatever. Anyway, it was a very nice diner. If you go there, get the Murray Hill. It's a fine sandwich, well worth your time. Pastrami was very lean.
I wish I got that. Mine was like it was a classic sandwich where the ingredients sounded better than it all actually works together. But it wasn't bad tasting. I just tried something else next time.
Oh shoot! What time is it?
No.
Shit, I'm on a
10:30, 10:35.
Oh fuck! Yeah, I'm not going to be able to get the L.
Well, not. What time's the L shut down?
10:45.
Oh
shit!
Fuck.
I totally didn't think about that.
How do you get home?
I guess I'm going to have to get a car or figure it out. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes. So, what I'm glad about is that it wasn't a very good film, and we did spend a lot of time like talking about why it wasn't a very good film. Yeah. But it didn't depress me. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Yes.
And thank you very much for being my co-host.
Thanks, man.
I hope long it will continue.
Absolutely.
And I want everyone to follow you on Twitter.
Thank you very much.
At J_E_A_Wallace. Follow him and ask him stuff about being the co-host of the After Movie Diner. Because
I'll be very happy to answer it.
He will. And he'll tell you interesting stories from his side of things. And he can lie about me and all sorts of stuff. It'll be fun. So do that. Have fun. Enjoy it. Thanks again, Jim. And I wouldn't bother seeing Halloween 2018 unless, like other people, you're either more forgiving than I am, or you've not seen 40 years worth of movies, and it's all
Halloween H2O.
Yeah, or watch Halloween H2O because it's so much better. Anyway, enough. Done. Goodbye.
Cheerio.
And can you hear there that I'm out of breath, simply trying to walk and talk at the same time? My goodness, boy, do I need to get in shape. Anyway, we're going to end this episode with the title track of MO75 Vol.1 by the Big Heist. That's right, it's the song MO75. I hope you've enjoyed all the little clips from this album that I've played throughout the show, and I do really hope that you go check out MO75 Vol.1 by the Big Heist on Amazon, Spotify, Google Play, iTunes, wherever music is found. Just do it. Go listen to MO75 Vol.1 by the Big Heist and enjoy this last track, MO75.
This rock won't move, it'll stay to prove that MO75 was here one day with paint that sprayed to mark this glorious time. She's so sweet, we can feel the heat and we can't escape the sweat. Windows down, cruise through town, everything's fresh and getting ready and going steady and go find it, even though he said he want to be found. We know everybody's name and everybody's game. We've all changed, but we're still the same. And it goes round and round. rock won't move. It reminds me of you taking MO75, and the dog that barked all alone in the dark, still happy to be alive. Sitting by the pool after school, singing MO75. Just one more shot or passing thought is all I need to survive.